I am Dor Bar Lev. I am Sganrer Sports for this summer, and I live in Israel. I've known Camp Ramah since last summer. I've been approached by the Jewish agency to come and volunteer in a summer camp, in a Jewish summer camp, and so I agreed. I came to camp last year as a Rosh Hashanah for Shorashim, and here I am this year as Sganrer Sports. There's a program from the Jewish agency for soldiers who have just finished their mandatory service, where they are free to come and volunteer in summer camps abroad, mainly in America and in Canada, where they can spread Jewish culture and Israeli culture and increase people's love of Israel. I was called to reserve duty on September for just regular training, and then on October, when the war began, we enlisted and we served for 2 months, 2 months straight, guarding towns and villages northwestern to the West Bank. After that, on March and April, we've done another round of a month and a bit, where we cycled between an imprisonment facility for terrorists and between guarding the city of Sderot, as well as neighboring facilities. It was pretty stressful at certain times, because being on the front is not what we do. We are going to be on the home front, which is further back, more defensive, but we're still out there. We're still vulnerable to attacks, and so there are many people who couldn't handle the stress and just had to leave. It's very unfortunate, but it happens. I thankfully was fine on the mental front. It's also stressful having to manage your civilian life, because most of the people who come to reserves are already adults. They have families, they have jobs, they have people to care for, people under them, above them. And so a lot of people had to juggle between going on missions and maintaining their schedules and maintaining their families and checking for people. I was planning originally on going on further reserves. We had a small relief reserve in July, and I said, well, I can be in camp and I can make something that's a bit more meaningful, because having a small get together in a hotel is nice and all, and I can be in a camp for 2 months and spread the love of Judaism and Israel for a community that is very far away, and their presence in the Jewish world is very, very significant. I did at some point say maybe I shouldn't go, maybe I should stay at home if they summon me. And then I realized that with all of my love for camp, I can come over, and if the army summons me, then unfortunately I will have to drop everything and go. Even children will come to us and they will ask questions. Being children, they can sometimes get a bit tactless, but we don't mind that too much. In terms of news outlets and media, anyone can say anything, but the best source to ever ask about something is to ask someone who has been there and has lived it and is still living it. Let's just say you come to some news reporter and you ask them, well, what's going on? And they'll tell you this and that and so, but they haven't been there. That's just what they are hearing from people who are hearing from people who heard from people, and so on and so forth. Instead, you can go to one of your own bunk staff and ask them, hey, I have a question about this and that and so. And you would get the most genuine answer from someone who has experienced it. Because ultimately, this war is not just about what's going on in Israel and the neighboring countries, it's how the rest of the world is reacting. And sadly, most of America is being swept by pro-Palestinian protests, and it's not a truth that we like admitting, but it's one that we have to face. And one of the ways of facing it is asking questions about what's going on and being able to answer those questions in a way that people can learn and also teach them again to other people who ask them. So, for example, if a kid comes to me and asks a question, I'll tell them an answer that they can also repeat to other people. It sounds kind of a bit like an echo chamber, but it's really one echo chamber against another. And in this war, which is a war of good and evil, then one echo chamber is one echo chamber has to win over the other. And so once we spread our answers and the truth to other people, then we can spread more awareness. We can make people understand what the situation is and how grave it is, and what's the right side to support. The Israeli staff as a whole can show a different perspective of the whole situation and a different way of coping. Something about American culture is that you very much tend to soften things up, make them soft and appropriate for all ages. The Israeli culture is much more, I wouldn't say rigid, much more direct, because we have to face problems as they are. We can't run away from them. We can't run away from the war. We can't run away from discrimination or from anti Semitism or anything like that. So we just have to deal with it and we can't hide. So by showing them that you don't have to shy away from conflict and you don't have to hide from those who resist you, you can show them that, as Jews we can get together and educate each other on what's right and wrong. And I think a great way to explain this is how some people try to compare this war to the Holocaust, where we were one-sidedly stomped on. But then other people come and say, no, this is not the Holocaust because we are fighting back. So this fighting back mentality is what many of the Israeli staff can provide to the kids, and hopefully to the next generations of camp and of Judaism in all of the world. A greater understanding of what's going on with the Jewish people as a whole in the rest of the world. It's very easy to focus on just one front of the war and then to overlook the people who are indirectly involved, be it in schools or in synagogues or communities in America who are facing their own fair share of problems. Essentially, everyone here is facing hardships, and saying that one hardship triumphs another is not the right way. We have to acknowledge each other's hardships and help each other move forward. Yay, camp! קיץ של שמחה.